Imagine you built a Spring Boot API. At first, everything works perfectly. One user sends a request, it's fine. 10 users, still fine. 1,000 users, your server starts sweating. Then suddenly, one viral moment happens, and boom, your backend is down, not because your code is bad, but because every single request is hitting the same server. That's where a load balancer comes in. It is the thing that stands in front of your backend and says, don't send all traffic to one server, let me distribute it smartly. In this video, I will explain load balancer using real backend example without boring theory. Let's say we have a simple Spring Boot application. Maybe it handles getting products, inserting into orders, some login. Right now, your user talks directly to one backend server. So the architecture looks like this. User connects directly to Spring Boot server. This is simple, but it has two big problems. Number one, if too many users send requests, this server can become overloaded. Number two, if this server crashes, your entire application is down. That means one server becomes a single point of failure, and in production, that is dangerous. Imagine your app is an online store. A user opens a mobile app, the app calls your backend. Now imagine thousands of users doing that at the same time. If all requests go to one Spring Boot instance, that one server has to handle everything: database calls, authentication, business logic, file uploads, payment requests, and more. At some point, the server says, I can't handle this anymore. The response becomes slow. Some users get errors, some request timeout, and eventually your app feels broken. What do companies do? They don't usually run only one backend server. They run multiple copies of the same application, like this: Spring Boot Server 1, Server 2, Server 3. But now we have a new question. Which server should receive the request? That's the job of the load balancer. A load balancer is like a traffic manager. Instead of users talking directly to your backend server, they talk to the load balancer first. The architecture becomes user connects to the load balancer, and load balancer distributes the load to the backend servers. So when a request comes in, the load balancer decides, should I send this request to server 1 or 2 or 3? This way, one server doesn't have to do all the work, the traffic is shared, and this gives us three big benefits. First, better performance, because requests are distributed across multiple servers now. Second, better availability, because if one server crashes, the load balancer can stop sending traffic to it. Third, easier scaling, because when traffic increases, you can add more backend servers behind the load balancers, and that's it. Simple analogy: think of a restaurant. If there is one cashier and 100 customers, the line becomes huge. People wait, some people leave, the service becomes bad. Now imagine the restaurants at 3 cashiers, but the customers still need someone to guide them to an available cashier. That person is the load balancer. The customers are the requests. The cashiers are the backend servers. The load balancer makes sure that the work is spread across the available servers. How load balancer chooses a server? That is an interesting question. How does the load balancer decide where to send each request? There are different strategies. The simplest one is called round robin. This means the load balancer sends requests one by one to each server. Simple and fair. Another strategy is least connections. This means the load balancer checks which server is currently handling the fewest active requests. Then it sends the next request there. This is useful when some requests take longer than others. For example, maybe getting products is fast, but generating report takes 5 seconds. In this case, simple rotating requests may not be enough, so least connections can be smarter. Another strategy is based on server health. The load balancer keeps checking: is server 1 alive? Is server 2 responding? Is server 3 healthy? If server 2 crashes, the load balancer removes it temporarily, so the traffic becomes server 1 and server 3. And when server 2 becomes healthy again, it can receive traffic again. That is called a health check. Let's connect this to Spring Boot. Imagine you package your Spring Boot app as a Docker image. Then you run 3 containers from the same image. All 3 apps have the same code. They connect to the same database, but users don't need to know about these 3 ports. User only call one URL, which is basically the URL of your application. Behind that URL, the load balancer decides which Spring Boot instance should handle the request. So the user sees one backend, but internally you may have multiple backend servers. That is the power of load balancing. I want to warn you about something important, which common beginners make. They store user data inside a server memory. For example, they save the login state, card data, or temporary user information inside one Spring Boot instance. This can cause problems. Why? Because request 1 may go to server 1, but request 2 may go to server 2. If server 2 doesn't have the same session data, the user may suddenly appear logged out. That's why production backend systems usually avoid storing important user state inside one server. Instead, they use things like database, Redis, JWT tokens, shared session storage. So any backend server can handle the request. This is very important when working with load balancers. Your backend should be stateless as possible. In real production system, the flow may look like this. Mobile app or browser, it connects to the load balancer and the load balancer distributes to the instance of your application. And the instance of your application connects to whatever you have in terms of external services such as database or Redis. The user doesn't care which Spring Boot instance handled the request, they only care that the app is fast and always available. That's exactly what the load balancer helps with. It protects your app from depending on one server, it helps distribute traffic, it removes unhealthy servers, and it makes scaling much easier. So, in simple words, a load balancer sits between the user and your backend servers. Its job is to distribute incoming requests across multiple servers. Without a load balancer, user connects to one server. With load balancer, user connected to a load balancer and load balancer distributes the load across multiple servers. This helps your backend handle more traffic, survive server failures, and scale properly. So the next time you hear people say we need to scale the backend, one of the first things you should think about, do we have multiple app instances behind the load balancer? Because one server may be fine for learning, but production needs more than one point of failure. In the next video, I can show you how to actually run multiple Spring Boot instances and put a load balancer in front of them using Docker and Nginx. That way, you won't just understand the concept, you will actually build it. If you want that practical demo, subscribe and I will see you in the next one.